It was meant to be a short, sharp lockdown, and with today's alarming jump in new COVID cases across the state, the government has again defended its approach. In another sign of lockdown fatigue in Victoria, grand final gatherings and house parties have been blamed for the record surge. There were 1,438 new cases recorded. Around 1/3 of those were people choosing to break the rules. Sadly, there have been another 5 deaths, bringing the total from this outbreak to 41. There are now more than 11,000 active cases in Victoria, making our vaccination numbers more important than ever before. More than 80% of Victorians over 16 have received a first dose and will hit 50% fully vaccinated tomorrow. That race to the 70% vaccine target will accelerate, with the government cutting the wait time between Pfizer jabs from 6 weeks to 3. Christian Silver begins our coverage.
In the space of a week, Victoria's COVID cases have doubled.
Many of these cases were completely avoidable. Now, of course, they will add further pressure to our health system.
The blame for the grim new record laid at the feet of rule breakers who held secret parties and barbecues over the grand final long weekend.
So around 1/3 of our cases today we think are due directly to those different types of social gatherings, as people have dropped their guard.
Do each of you know people who have been doing the wrong thing? I think we all do.
It took about 10 seconds for the Premier to yet again blame someone else but himself, this time all Victorians.
After seeding in the city's north and west, Delta has now spread across every suburb of Melbourne.
Well, COVID's just slapped us all in the face again.
2 weeks ago, the Burnett Institute tipped COVID numbers wouldn't reach this level until the middle of October.
The next couple of weeks will be key in terms of where the epidemic trajectory goes. But a single day this week doesn't necessarily alter our assumptions as to where or when the case numbers may peak in Victoria.
Only 7% of today's cases were fully vaccinated. It's further evidence that vaccines work, but the uptake hasn't been quick enough to curb infections. To combat that, over 60s will now be able to access Pfizer or Moderna at a GP or pharmacy.
There should be no barrier to any older Australian stepping forward to receive a vaccination.
And from Monday, the interval between Pfizer doses at state-run hubs will drop from 6 weeks to 3 weeks. The government is sticking to its plan to end Melbourne's lockdown around the 26th of October.
Anyone who gets vaccinated in the next week or so, there's every chance with these interval changes that you'll be able to get your second dose before the end of October and help us pull all those dates forward.
If our hospitals are completely overrun, it doesn't matter what level of vaccination we've reached, we're not going to be able to open. And they're not really saying that at the press conferences, but that is the truth.
And with 398 people now in hospital with the virus, the system is already struggling. Christian Silver, ABC News, Melbourne.
Details have finally been revealed about the return to classrooms for regional Victorian students from Monday. There'll be a slow and staggered start for many in Term 4 with new safety measures in place. But the return could be hampered in some parts of the state as case numbers grow. Erin Cooper reports.
Geelong sisters Harpreet and Galeen will soon be back in the classroom for Term 4.
I'm also looking forward to building a better routine as well, because I kind of wake up late some days because it's remote learning.
It'll be a staggered return for regional students who aren't in lockdown areas. From Monday, all prep to grade 2 and final year students will return. Year 11 students are also back next week. Then, from Monday, October 11, Year 7s will head back full-time, while other year levels will return to the classroom 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays for Years 3, 4, 8 and 9, and Thursdays and Fridays for Years 5, 6 and 10. All regional students will be back in the classroom full-time from Tuesday, October 26.
I think they will have to make some adjustment. We are happy for them because then they can have some routine back, meet their friends, their teachers.
Moving in and out of remote and flexible learning has been very difficult for everyone, but the light is there at the end of the tunnel.
Despite children under 12 unable to be vaccinated against COVID yet, new safety measures are being put in place.
That includes a requirement for teachers and staff to be vaccinated, and it also means a rollout of 51,000 air purifiers, CO2 monitors, a massive audit.
Wastewater detection will also be ramped up.
The public health team will identify areas of higher potential risk, and we'll have wastewater detection within schools so we get the earliest advice possible.
But for areas like Warrnambool, where cases have grown to 17 across 4 households, another lockdown could be looming if numbers continue to grow.
I'm concerned. I'll be honest. I'm concerned because until we get to a point where the positives stop coming through, we're really not sure how far it's spread.
It's a testing time for another regional community. Erin Cooper, ABC News, Geelong.
Queensland is dealing with 4 COVID clusters. Restrictions are being reintroduced, but they've avoided a snap lockdown. 6 new cases of community transmission include a pilot who tested positive after flying to Townsville and a woman who crossed the border to New South Wales and came back infected. Authorities say because they can link all 12 cases detected since Monday, there's no need for a shutdown just yet. But the state is going back to stage 2 restrictions, which include limiting gatherings to 30 people at home and in public.
Everyone realises that we've got to put these restrictions in place if we are to avoid a lockdown at this stage, okay? So I want everyone please to take this very seriously and to please do the right thing.
The NRL decider will still go ahead in Brisbane on Sunday at this stage, but at 75% capacity, despite concerns it could be a super spreader event. The Federal Treasurer is defending a decision to end financial support for workers and businesses when COVID vaccination rates reach 80%. Welfare groups and the opposition say that even when the target is reached, some businesses won't be operating at full capacity because of health restrictions. But Josh Frydenberg argues the government sought medical and economic advice before making the decision, and he insists federal support can't go on forever.
If it's not 80% double dose vaccination, when we bring to an end the COVID disaster payment and the business support payments, then when is it?
New South Wales, Victoria and the ACT have struck agreements with the Commonwealth to extend business support grants until the 80% double dose target is reached.